version, but today I'm giving you the full story, along with some explanations about the history behind it. We'll explore where the myth comes from, what it might have been based on, and why it's still so captivating thousands of years later. I've split this into 7 parts to make it easy to follow, so whether you're here for the storytelling, the history, or just to chill, this one's for you. Alright, let's dive in. Segment 1. The Legend of Atlantis. The story of Atlantis begins not with facts, but with whispers. Whispers carried across millennia, passed down through generations, and preserved in the writings of the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. It is a tale that exists in the liminal space between myth and history, a story so compelling that it has endured for over 2,000 years. To speak of Atlantis is to speak of a dream of a civilization so advanced, so magnificent, that its very existence seems to defy the boundaries of possibility. Yet, it is this very impossibility that makes the legend so enduring, so captivating. Plato's account of Atlantis comes to us from 2 of his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, written around 360 BCE. In these texts, Plato describes Atlantis as a powerful island nation located beyond the Pillars of Heracles, what we now call the Strait of Gibraltar. According to him, Atlantis was a land of unparalleled beauty and wealth, a utopia where the gods themselves walked among men. The island was said to be larger than Libya and Asia combined. With a geography so diverse, it seemed to contain the entire world within its borders. At the heart of Atlantis was its capital city, a marvel of engineering and design. The city was built in concentric rings of land and water, connected by grand canals and bridges. At its centre stood a magnificent temple dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea, who was said to be the founder and protector of Atlantis. The temple was adorned with gold, silver, and a mysterious metal called orichalcum, which gleamed like fire in the sunlight. The city's architecture was a testament to the Atlanteans' skill and ingenuity, blending beauty and functionality in a way that seemed almost otherworldly. The Atlanteans, according to Plato, were a people blessed by the gods. They were skilled in the arts of war, agriculture, and architecture, and their society was governed by a wise and just system of laws. For generations, they lived in harmony with the natural world, their prosperity a testament to their virtue and piety. But as time passed, the Atlanteans grew arrogant. They began to covet more power, more wealth, and more territory. They turned their backs on the gods and waged war against the nations of the Mediterranean, seeking to conquer all in their path. It was this hubris, Plato tells us, that led to their downfall. Angered by their impiety, the gods unleashed a series of cataclysmic earthquakes and floods, sinking the entire island beneath the waves in a single day and night of destruction. Atlantis was lost to the sea, its glory swallowed by the depths, leaving only fragments of its memory to haunt the dreams of those who came after. But what if Atlantis was more than just a myth? What if it was a real place, a civilization that once thrived in a time before recorded history? To answer this question, we must journey beyond the realm of legend and into the realm of possibility. We must imagine a world where the boundaries between myth and history blur, where the impossible becomes plausible, is not just a tale of the past, but a key to understanding our own origins. In the next segment, we will explore the golden age of Atlantis, how it might have been built, who its people were, and what made it so extraordinary. We will delve into the theories of ancient engineers, the mysteries of lost technologies, and the tantalizing clues that suggest Atlantis may have been more than just a figment of Plato's imagination. So, dear reader, let us embark on this journey together, and let the waves of time carry us to a world that once was, and perhaps, in some way, still is. Segment 2. The Golden Age of Atlantis. Imagine a time when the world was younger, its secrets still hidden beneath the surface of uncharted seas. It was during this age, some 12,000 years ago, that Atlantis is said to have reached its zenith, a golden age of prosperity, innovation, and harmony. The island was a paradise, a place where nature and humanity coexisted in perfect balance, and where the achievements of its people seemed almost divine. The origins of Atlantis, as described by Plato, were rooted in the divine. Poseidon, the god of the sea, fell in love with a mortal woman named Clito. To protect her, he created a sanctuary on the island, surrounding it with concentric rings of water and land. This design was not just a symbol of his power, but also a practical masterpiece, providing natural defences against invaders and storms. Over time, Clito and Poseidon's descendants, the Atlanteans, built upon this foundation, transforming the island into a thriving civilization. The Atlanteans were master engineers, their skills far ahead of their time. The concentric rings of the capital city were connected by a network of canals, allowing ships to travel seamlessly from the outer sea to the inner harbour. Bridges of stone and metal spanned the waterways, their arches gleaming in the sunlight. The city's buildings were constructed from a unique blend of volcanic rock and orichalcum, a metal said to be as precious as gold, but with a fiery, almost mystical sheen. The streets were paved with smooth stones, and lush gardens filled the spaces between buildings, their flowers perfuming the air. At the heart of the city stood the Temple of Poseidon, a structure so grand it seemed to touch the heavens. Its walls were plated with silver, its roof with gold, and its central spire was crowned with a massive crystal that refracted sunlight into a rainbow of colours. Inside the temple, a colossal statue of Poseidon stood, his trident raised as if to command the seas. The Atlanteans gathered here to honour their patron god, offering prayers and sacrifices in gratitude for their prosperity. But Atlantis was more than just a beautiful city, it was a hub of innovation. The Atlanteans had harnessed the power of the natural world in ways that seem almost magical to us today. They used geothermal energy from the island's volcanic activity to heat their homes and power their forges. Their irrigation systems, fed by natural springs and rainwater, allowed them to cultivate crops year-round, creating an abundance of food that sustained their population. They were also skilled metallurgists, crafting tools and weapons from bronze, iron, and orichalcum that were unmatched in quality. The Atlanteans' connection to the sea was central to their identity. They were master sailors, their ships venturing far beyond the horizon to trade with distant lands. These voyages brought not only wealth, but also knowledge, as the Atlanteans exchanged ideas and technologies with other cultures. Their navigational skills were said to be guided by the stars and some believe they may have had early forms of compasses or even rudimentary maps. Society in Atlantis was structured yet egalitarian. The island was divided into 10 regions, each ruled by a king who was a descendant of Poseidon. These kings governed with wisdom and fairness, meeting regularly in the Temple of Poseidon to discuss matters of state. The Atlanteans valued education and the arts, and their scholars studied astronomy, mathematics, and philosophy. Music and storytelling were integral to their culture, with festivals and celebrations held throughout the year to honour the gods and the changing seasons. But as with all golden ages, Atlantis' prosperity was not destined to last. The very innovations and ambitions that had made the island great would eventually lead to its downfall. The Atlanteans, confident in their power, began to expand their territory, establishing colonies on nearby islands and even venturing onto the mainland. They grew wealthier, but also more arrogant, their once sacred connection to Poseidon and the natural world beginning to fray. In the next segment, we will explore the decline of Atlantis, the environmental and human factors that led to its collapse, and the catastrophic events that ultimately sealed its fate. For now, let us linger in the golden age of Atlantis, a time when the island shone like a beacon of human achievement, and remember that even the greatest civilizations are not immune to the forces of nature and time. Segment 3. The decline of Atlantis. Every civilization has its turning point, a moment when the seeds of its downfall are sown, often unnoticed amidst the glittering facade of its achievements. For Atlantis, this moment came not with a sudden crash, but with a slow, creeping unravelling. The golden age of Atlantis, with its prosperity and innovation, had bred a sense of invincibility among its people. But the forces of nature and the flaws of humanity are relentless, and even the mightiest of civilizations can fall. The first signs of trouble were subtle. The Atlanteans, accustomed to their abundance, began to take their good fortune for granted. They expanded their territory, building colonies on nearby islands, and even venturing onto the mainland. These colonies brought wealth and resources, but they also stretched the Atlanteans' resources thin. The once unified society began to fracture, as the rulers of the colonies grew more independent and less loyal to the central government in the capital. At the same time, the Atlanteans' relationship with the natural world began to deteriorate. The island's resources, once abundant, were being depleted at an unsustainable rate. Forests were cleared for timber, mines were dug deeper and deeper, and the fertile soil that had fed the population for generations began to erode. The canals and irrigation systems, once a marvel of engineering, fell into disrepair, leading to water shortages and crop failures. The Atlanteans, blinded by their own success, failed to recognize the warning signs. The gods too seemed to turn against Atlantis. According to Plato, the Atlanteans had grown arrogant and impious, no longer honouring Poseidon and the other deities as they once had. This spiritual decline was mirrored in their actions, as they began to wage war against their neighbours, seeking to expand their empire even further. The once peaceful island became a hub of militarism, its people consumed by a desire for conquest. But it wasn't just human folly that doomed Atlantis. The earth itself seemed to rebel against the island. Around 11,600 years ago, the world was undergoing a period of dramatic climatic change known as the Younger Dryas. Glaciers were melting, sea levels were rising, and the climate was becoming increasingly unstable. For a coastal civilization like Atlantis, these changes would have been catastrophic. Storms grew more frequent and more violent, eroding the coastline and flooding the city's canals. Earthquakes, possibly triggered by tectonic activity, shook the island, damaging buildings and infrastructure. Some researchers have proposed that Atlantis' downfall was linked to a specific catastrophic event, such as a massive volcanic eruption or a comet impact. The eruption of Thera, modern-day Santorini, around 1600 BCE, for example, devastated the Minoan civilization and inspired myths of a lost city. Could a similar event have struck Atlantis? If so, the eruption would have caused tsunamis, earthquakes, and a volcanic winter, plunging the island into chaos. Alternatively, a comet impact in the Atlantic Ocean could have generated massive waves, flooding the island and altering the climate. As the disasters mounted, the Atlanteans found themselves increasingly isolated. Their trade routes were disrupted, their colonies abandoned, and their people divided. The once great city, with its gleaming temples and bustling markets, began to crumble. The canals, once a symbol of Atlantean ingenuity, became conduits for destruction, channeling floodwaters into the heart of the city. The fertile soil, eroded by rising seas, could no longer support the population, leading to famine and unrest. In their desperation, the Atlanteans turned to their gods, offering sacrifices and prayers in the hope of appeasing Poseidon. But it was too late. The balance had been broken, and the gods, if they ever listened, remained silent. The final blow came in a single day and night of destruction, as Plato describes. A massive earthquake shook the island, followed by a tsunami that swept over the city, dragging it beneath the waves. The concentric rings of Atlantis, once a marvel of engineering, became its tomb, sinking into the depths of the ocean. But the story of Atlantis does not end with its destruction. In the next segment, we will explore the aftermath, the survivors who carried the memory of Atlantis to distant lands, the myths and legends that grew from its ruins, and the enduring legacy of a civilization that continues to captivate our imagination. For even in its fall, Atlantis left behind a spark, a reminder of what humanity can achieve and what it stands to lose. Segment 4. The Survivors and the Legacy. When the waters finally receded and the earth grew still, Atlantis was no more. The island, once a beacon of human achievement, had vanished beneath the waves, leaving behind only silence and ruin. But the story of Atlantis did not die with its people. Like embers carried by the wind, the memory of Atlantis spread across the world, igniting the imaginations of those who heard its tale and giving rise to a legacy that endures to this day. The survivors of Atlantis, if there were any, would have been scattered far and wide. Some may have fled to nearby islands, carrying with them the knowledge and traditions of their lost homeland. Others might have travelled to the mainland, where they shared their stories with the people they encountered. These refugees, though few in number, could have had a profound impact on the civilizations that followed. Some researchers have suggested that the Atlanteans' advanced engineering, agricultural techniques, and maritime skills influenced the development of ancient cultures in the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and even the Americas. One of the most intriguing theories is that the Atlanteans were the ancestors of the Sea Peoples, a mysterious group of marauders who attacked the ancient Egyptians and other civilizations around 1200 BCE. The Sea Peoples were skilled sailors and warriors, and their sudden appearance has puzzled historians for centuries. Could they have been the descendants of Atlantis, driven from their homeland by disaster and seeking a new place to settle? While this theory is speculative, it highlights the enduring mystery of Atlantis and its possible connections to other ancient cultures. The story of Atlantis also found its way into the myths and legends of many civilizations. The Greeks, of course, were the first to record the tale, but echoes of Atlantis can be found in the stories of other cultures as well. The ancient Egyptians spoke of a lost land called Keftiu, a prosperous island nation that was swallowed by the sea. The Celts had their own legends of Lyonesse, a sunken kingdom off the coast of Cornwall. Even in the Americas, there are stories of a great flood that destroyed an advanced civilization, leaving only a few survivors to rebuild the world. These myths, though varied in their details, share a common theme: the rise and fall of a great civilization, brought low by its own hubris and the forces of nature. They serve as cautionary tales, reminding us of the fragility of human achievement and the importance of living in harmony with the natural world. In this sense, Atlantis is not just a story about the past, it is a story about the present and the future, a warning of what could happen if we fail to heed the lessons of history. But Atlantis is more than just a cautionary tale. It is also a symbol of hope and inspiration. The idea of a lost civilization, with its advanced technology and enlightened society, has captured the imagination of countless generations. It has inspired explorers to search for the ruins of Atlantis, scientists to study the mysteries of the ancient world, and dreamers to imagine what might be possible if we could unlock the secrets of the past. In the modern era, the legend of Atlantis has taken on new life. It has been the subject of books, movies, and television shows, each offering its own interpretation of the lost city. Some have portrayed Atlantis as a utopia, a shining example of what humanity could achieve. Others have depicted it as a dystopia, a warning of the dangers of unchecked ambition. Regardless of the interpretation, the story of Atlantis continues to resonate with us, reminding us of our own potential and our own vulnerabilities. In the next segment, we will delve into the search for Atlantis, the expeditions, the theories, and the evidence that has fueled the quest to find the lost city. We will explore the places where Atlantis might have been located, from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, and examine the clues that have led researchers to believe that Atlantis might be more than just a myth. For now, let us remember that the legacy of Atlantis is not just a story of loss, but a story of resilience, a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. Segment 5. The Search for Atlantis. The legend of Atlantis has inspired countless explorers, scholars, and dreamers to search for the lost city. From the depths of the ocean to the peaks of ancient ruins, the quest for Atlantis has taken many forms, each driven by the hope of uncovering the truth behind the myth. But where do we even begin to look for a civilization that may have existed over 12,000 years ago? The The answer lies in a combination of ancient texts, geological evidence, and a dash of imagination. Plato's account provides the first clue. Atlantis was said to lie beyond the Pillars of Heracles, which most scholars interpret as the Strait of Gibraltar. This places Atlantis somewhere in the Atlantic Ocean, but the exact location remains a mystery. Over the centuries, numerous theories have emerged, each proposing a different site for the lost city. Let's explore some of the most compelling possibilities. The Mediterranean hypothesis. One of the most popular theories places Atlantis in the Mediterranean Sea. The island of Santorini, for example, has long been considered a candidate. Around 1600 BCE, a massive volcanic eruption devastated the Minoan civilization on the nearby island of Crete. The eruption caused tsunamis, earthquakes, and a volcanic winter, leading some to speculate that this event inspired the story of Atlantis. The ruins of Akrotiri, a Minoan settlement on Santorini, reveal a sophisticated society with advanced architecture and art, further fueling the connection. The Caribbean connection. Another theory suggests that Atlantis was located in the Caribbean. Proponents of this idea point to the Bimini Road, a submerged rock formation off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas. Some believe the formation is a man-made structure, possibly part of an ancient harbour or road, while most scientists argue that the Bimini Road is a natural formation. The theory persists, supported by legends of sunken cities in the region. The Antarctic Enigma. A more controversial theory proposed that Atlantis was located in Antarctica. According to this idea, the continent was once ice-free and home to an advanced civilization. When the Earth's axis shifted, Antarctica was plunged into freezing temperatures, burying the evidence of Atlantis under miles of ice. While this theory is intriguing, it lacks concrete evidence and is often dismissed by mainstream scholars. The Azores Plateau. Some researchers believe Atlantis could have been located on the Azores Plateau, a submerged landmass in the mid-Atlantic. Geological studies suggest that parts of the plateau were above water during the last ice age, making it a plausible location for an ancient civilization. However, no definitive evidence of human activity has been found in the area. Modern expeditions. In recent years, advances in technology have reignited the search for Atlantis. Sonar mapping, underwater drones, and satellite imagery have allowed researchers to explore the ocean floor in unprecedented detail. One notable expedition, led by archaeologist Robert Ballard, discovered ancient shipwrecks and submerged ruins in the Black Sea, sparking new interest in underwater archaeology. While these discoveries have not yet led to Atlantis, they demonstrate the potential for finding lost civilizations beneath the waves. Despite the lack of conclusive evidence, the search for Atlantis continues to captivate the public imagination. It is a quest driven not just by curiosity, but by a deeper longing to connect with our past and understand the origins of human civilization. Whether Atlantis was a real place or simply a myth, its story reminds us of the fragility of human achievement and the enduring power of the human spirit. In the next segment, we will explore the modern fascination with Atlantis, how it has inspired art, literature, and popular culture, and what its legacy means for us today. For now, let us marvel at the mystery of Atlantis, a city lost to time but never forgotten. Segment 6. Atlantis in popular culture. Atlantis has transcended its ancient origins to become a cornerstone of modern imagination. It is a story that has inspired countless works of art, literature, film, and even video games, each offering a unique interpretation of the lost city. From utopian visions to dystopian nightmares, Atlantis has become a symbol of humanity's deepest hopes and fears, a mirror reflecting our dreams of what we could achieve and our anxieties about what we might lose. Literature and philosophy. Long before Atlantis became a staple of pop culture, it was a subject of fascination for writers and philosophers. After Plato's initial account, the story of Atlantis was largely forgotten until the Renaissance, when scholars rediscovered classical texts and began to reinterpret them. Writers like Sir Francis Bacon used Atlantis as a metaphor for an ideal society in works such as The New Atlantis, 1627, which envisioned a utopian island dedicated to scientific discovery and enlightenment. In the 19th and 20th centuries, Atlantis became a popular theme in adventure novels and speculative fiction. Jules Verne's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, 1870, featured a visit to the ruins of Atlantis, described as a haunting, otherworldly place. H.G. Wells, Arthur Conan Doyle, and C.S. Lewis also drew inspiration from the myth, using it to explore themes of exploration, hubris, and the unknown. Film and television. The visual medium has brought Atlantis to life in ways that words alone cannot. One of the most iconic depictions is Disney's Atlantis, The Lost Empire, 2001, an animated film that reimagines Atlantis as a technologically advanced society powered by a mysterious energy source. The film blends steampunk aesthetics with ancient mythology, creating a world that feels both familiar and fantastical. Other notable films include City Beneath the Sea, 1970, Warlords of Atlantis, 1978, and Aquaman, 2018, which portrays Atlantis as a thriving underwater kingdom with a rich culture and history. Television series like Stargate Atlantis, 2004 to 2009, have also explored the myth, using it as a springboard for science fiction storytelling. Art and music. Atlantis has long been a muse for artists and musicians. The surrealist painter Salvador Dali created a series of works inspired by the myth, including the hallucinogenic Toreador, 1969 to 1970, which features imagery of submerged ruins and classical statues. Musicians, too, have been drawn to the story. Donovan's 1969 hit song Atlantis tells the tale of the lost city in a haunting, melodic style, while modern bands like Mastodon and Symphony X have used the myth as a theme for concept albums. Video games and interactive media. In the realm of video games, Atlantis has become a popular setting for adventure and exploration. Games like Tomb Raider and Assassin's Creed Odyssey feature quests to uncover the secrets of the lost city, blending historical detail with fantastical elements. These games allow players to step into the shoes of explorers, solving puzzles and battling enemies as they unravel the mysteries of Atlantis. The enduring appeal of Atlantis. Why does Atlantis continue to captivate us? Perhaps it is because the story speaks to something fundamental in the human experience, the desire to uncover the unknown, to connect with our past, and to imagine a better future. Atlantis represents both the heights of human achievement and the fragility of our existence. It is a reminder that even the greatest civilizations can fall, but also that their legacy can endure, inspiring future generations to dream and explore. In the next segment, we will reflect on the deeper themes of the Atlantis myth, what it teaches us about hubris, environmental balance, and the human spirit. For now, let us celebrate the enduring legacy of Atlantis, a story that continues to inspire and enchant us, no matter how many times it is retold. Segment 7: Themes and Lessons from Atlantis. The story of Atlantis is more than just a tale of a lost civilization. It is a mirror reflecting humanity's greatest strengths and deepest flaws. Through its rise and fall, Atlantis teaches us timeless lessons about hubris, the balance between humanity and nature, and the enduring power of the human spirit. These themes resonate across cultures and generations, making the myth of Atlantis as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. Hubris and the perils of overreach. At the heart of Atlantis' downfall is the theme of hubris, the excessive pride and ambition that led the Atlanteans to overreach. According to Plato, the Atlanteans began as a virtuous and pious people, living in harmony with the gods and the natural world. But as their power grew, so did their arrogance. They sought to conquer neighbouring lands, waging war and expanding their empire beyond their means. This hubris angered the gods, who responded by destroying the island in a single day and night of cataclysm. This cautionary tale echoes throughout history, from the fall of ancient empires to the environmental crises of the modern era. It reminds us that no civilization, no matter how advanced, is immune to the consequences of overreach, whether through unchecked ambition, environmental exploitation, or technological overconfidence. The story of Atlantis warns us of the dangers of losing sight of our limits. The balance between humanity and nature. Atlantis was a civilization deeply connected to the natural world. Its prosperity was built on the island's abundant resources: fertile soil, fresh water, and rich mineral deposits. The Atlanteans' mastery of agriculture, engineering, and maritime trade allowed them to thrive for generations. But as they grew more powerful, they began to exploit these resources without regard for sustainability. Forests were cleared, mines were depleted, and the delicate balance between humanity and nature was disrupted. This theme is strikingly relevant in today's world, where climate change, deforestation, and pollution threaten the delicate ecosystems that sustain us. The story of Atlantis serves as a reminder that our survival depends on living in harmony with the natural world, rather than seeking to dominate it. It challenges us to rethink our relationship with the environment and to strive for a more sustainable future. The resilience of the human spirit. Despite its tragic end, the legacy of Atlantis endures. The survivors of the catastrophe carried their knowledge and stories to distant lands, inspiring new civilizations and sparking the imaginations of countless generations. This resilience, the ability to rise from the ashes and rebuild, is one of the most powerful themes of the Atlantis myth. In our own lives, we face challenges and setbacks that can feel insurmountable. The story of Atlantis reminds us that even in the face of disaster, there is hope. It encourages us to learn from our mistakes, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to find strength in our shared humanity. The legacy of Atlantis is not just a story of loss, but a testament to the enduring power of the human spirit. A call to reflection and action. The myth of Atlantis is not just a story to be enjoyed, it is a call to reflection and action. It challenges us to examine our own lives and societies, to consider the consequences of our actions, and to strive for a better future. Whether through environmental stewardship, ethical leadership, or the pursuit of knowledge, we have the power to shape our destiny and to ensure that the mistakes of Atlantis are not repeated. In the end, the story of Atlantis is a story about us, our dreams, our flaws, and our potential. It is a reminder that we are both the architects of our own destiny and the stewards of the world we inhabit. As we navigate the challenges of the modern era, let us carry the lessons of Atlantis with us, drawing inspiration from its triumphs and learning from its failures. And that's the story of Atlantis, a tale of greatness, hubris, and the enduring power of myth. Whether it's history, legend, or a bit of both, it's a story that continues to fascinate us even today. Thanks for joining me on this journey. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories like this. Let me know in the comments what part of the Atlantis myth stood